Hello everyone, it's me, Anthony Coach, a guitarist on YouTube. Now before you grab your pitchforks and come and hunt me down, don't worry, this is not in any way negative about Dave Gilmour. I've picked him because he always gets mentioned in threads and message boards and comment sections to videos, so you've only got yourselves to blame. You're the one who always brings his name up, not me. I think he's a brilliant player. I'm not a massive Pink Floyd fan, personally. Again, don't come at me with those pitchforks. But I massively respect him as a guitarist and think he is excellent. That's enough grovelling. Okay, here's the video. Because I was going to make today's video about guitar tone and amps and my thoughts on that. And then it made me think about when you're in these message board arguments, friendly arguments, I hope. People talk about being on their quest for the perfect tone. I've got to buy this amp, I've got to buy these pickups, I've got to use these strings. And then in come the other people who say things like, Dave Gilmour, it's the immortal phrase, Dave Gilmour would sound just as good on an old acoustic guitar. And all that they're getting at there really, in my opinion, is that the equipment is not even half of it. Way more of it comes from you, the player. And how you can vary the tone of your guitar through all the articulation that we can do on guitar. It made me pick up my guitar to make this video today and just think about that as I was playing. Have a listen to this, me just jamming over an A minor backing track and thinking, tone is in the fingers. Now let's compare that to me playing just the notes, not thinking about trying to create variations in tone. Me just playing the notes that are on the scale diagram in the right order. It sounded like this. Hopefully you agree with me though that there is a big difference and that the creation of the variation of tone, I didn't touch my amp, you saw me, my hands were here on the guitar. I didn't do that, I have no foot pedals. There was a lot of tonal variation in my first example because I practice all that articulation. Picking dynamics, articulation, vibrato, legato, sliding. That's what Dave Gilmour would bring, or any other guitarist would bring to any guitar. And that's what would make him unique. So really, the bottom line here is that practicing guitar to the point where you're in complete control of how to create tone is the main aim. So where does that start? That starts with when you practice your scales. Doing A minor pentatonic, position 1, that you would make a point of setting aside that time to practice it with palm muting. With vibrato. Slides. Quiet. Loud. It changes the way your guitar sounds. Now that's where the amp comes into it a little bit. Some amps will react differently to pick dynamics, to pinch harmonics. So the amp and the gear and the pickups and the guitar do come into it a little bit. But it's that other stuff. So much of my job is taking the stuff that's cool and like looks good on stage and sounds good and impresses people, and making it boring and using words like articulation and glissando and vibrato That's what I have to do. It's what I do for a living. I have to bring people in and say, you know, okay, before you get up there and, you know, do all your showy, flashy stuff, let's actually boil it down to its most basic thing. That's all we can do when we practice, is we create extremes. That's my big thing. You know how teachers always have phrases that they always repeat. I'm sure you've got teachers who used to always repeat the same phrase. Mine currently is, practice is creating extremes for yourself. You would just play an entire guitar solo that is just palm muted. For a half an hour, whatever. It sounds weird, but if you're developing your palm muting, that would be creating a real extreme. And by the end of that, you would be a lot better at it. Then the next one, you go crazy with your vibrato. Then the next one, the slides, and all the rest of it. You see where I'm going with this? This video is a little bit more of an opinion piece than a lesson. But if there is anything that I would like people to, that I would want to pass on as a lesson, it's don't care as much about the amp as you think you have to. And think about everything else. The picking. I don't even do any of this kind of playing. Now that's got such a different tone to this. I've not changed the amp. I've not done anything crazy with my volume. I've just wah 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 versus da 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 da. So subtle, but guess what? It's those subtleties that make your heroes sound like your heroes. It's those subtleties that would make Steve Vai sound like Steve Vai when he played a scale on my guitar. Well, my guitar is quite similar to his, on a cheap acoustic or his own guitar. It's those little subtleties that you've got to practice by making them not subtle, making them completely extreme. Pick up your guitar with the mindset of going extreme. What do you reckon? Do you think it's 50-50? Let me know in the comments, is it 50-50 that your guitar, amp and gear accounts for 50% of how you sound and the articulation is the other 50? Do you think it's 60-40? What do you reckon? I think it's heavily in favour of your fingers. I think it's like 80-20 or maybe even more over here. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This one's a weird video because usually I have a very solid thing to talk about, but today was more abstract and more of an opinion piece. So hopefully people watched and got something out of it. I hope you did. I'm sure you did. It's just talking about guitars, really. That's what we're all here for and that's what we all love. So I shouldn't feel that bad about it. Thank you for watching. Thank you to these names who support me on Patreon. How good is that of them? That is really nice. There's extra little videos to do with my videos that I do over here on YouTube that are over for the Patreon subscribers. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.